Hey guys, welcome back. I'm EDC Gunner, and here on EDC Gunner's channel since the day one, I wanted to show you watches that are genuinely worth the prices for which they are selling for. And oftentimes, these watches are new or whatnot, but I here gathered on this table some of the watches that are offer best value or bang per buck in the watch world. And these watches are all chronographs here except for one, but that's why let me just tell you a bit more about chronograph. Chronographs are one of the hardest complications to create, to produce, and to achieve. And if you think perpetual calendars and other complications are hard, let me tell you, chronographs are the hardest complication to achieve and to produce. And these watches here on the table are all cool vintage chronographs that you can get for around or under or a bit over $1,000. So these are some of the best watches under $1,000. Let's call them that. The best horology and thus best chronograph value for money watches that money can buy to you. So we'll just kick off with the beautiful Seiko Panda. And this is Seiko, this is 6138 Panda. It's one of the first, second version, one of the first Seiko automatic chronographs. And one of the first automatic chronographs in the world, alongside with Zentel Primera and Decor Caliber 11. And this here we have Panda. It's just a beautiful watch. I will have in-depth, you can find in-depth videos of it. Here we have a Seiko chronograph 6139. This is a Seiko Pogue. This watch went to space with the Colonel William Pogue. It's very quirky, but I think the Panda for everyday watch is the most beautiful. Of course, Seiko offers, when it comes to Seiko, you always hear great bang per buck and great value for money. So here with Seiko we have some other offerings as well. So like this here, cool bow hat. This is a Seiko bow hat. It's named like that because of the configuration of the pushers and the crown at top. It's reminiscent like of a bow's head, bow's horns, and everything else, but it's just another beautiful Seiko automatic chronograph. And mind you, all these three watches are column-wheel chronographs, so I don't think you can buy something like that brand new today. So always try to keep your eyes peeled on something vintage. Next here, this is the last Seiko I have here. This is one of the more affordable because this Panda here is beautiful. It's gorgeous watch. However, being so beautiful, or the Pogue went to space, or the bow hat being quirky and beautiful at the same time, they come out a pretty high dollar value. Then they fetch a high prices. But with the same moment, 6139, this one here, you can get some other less popular Seikos that are quirky and some beautiful dials like this one here. Also, let's move on to the Russians. Russians, this is a space watch. This is Polot Strela, the original Strela. You can buy a new one with 313 caliber, but this is 13017 caliber, and it's just a beautiful, also column wheel chronograph. If you're new to watches and you don't know what's a column wheel chronograph, Google it. Google it, and just then after that Google sorry, look after what some of the brand new Swiss counterparts are fetching the prices for. So next in the line of vintage watches is the Seiko, and this one is Swiss. This is a Russian. These are Seiko's Japanese, of course, and this is a Seiko's Swiss Tissot's Sea Star. This is a vintage Sea Star with Wemania movement, and this is just a beautiful vintage chronograph, and this is one of the best values around in vintage chronographs for around $1,000. And these watches are just gorgeous, plain gorgeous. And let me just switch perspectives. Okay, another cool watch that I have here is Omega Chronostop, and this is a driver's version. This one fetches more money, but regular Omega Chronostop is a super cool watch under $1,000 that comes from Omega. Has a stainless steel case, just a beautiful watch, quirky. This is a basically quirky watch. It has a stop. It's a bit like a stopwatch with a time-telling function, but nevertheless, you cannot deny its coolness, and it just looks beautiful. So what do we have here, guys? We have some cool watches that are all under or around $1,000, and I just love this to show that are just represent great value for money. This is a Omega Chronostop. Here we have a Tissot vintage C-Star with Wemania movement. We have a column wheel movement Pilot Strela. We have Seiko Panda, and isn't this gorgeous collection? This collection here represents, and this collection commands respect. If you look at it from a horological standpoint, if you look at it from the standpoint of horology, it just commands respect and admiration, and it's just beautiful. These watches are not only beautiful, but they all have some vintage charm, they have character, they have their personalities and quirks like this one here. And I strongly recommend you learn more. It is harder when you're dealing with vintage watches. It is harder. You need to learn more. You need to educate yourself. But there are lots of forums. And when buying vintage watches, try to find the best example you can. Don't buy the first one you find. For example, you're searching for a poke, and there are lots of pokes out there, but try to find the best example you can, not the first one you got. And that will take you more, that will take you places, and just beautiful to sell, beautiful Strela. And also when it comes to vintage watches, when buying vintage watches, there are lots of Frankensteins around, Franken watches with non-original parts, chapter rings, crowns, movements parts, bezel inserts. So just beware. Go to the forum. My advice is to go to the forum, Watch Your Seek or other forums, lots of knowledgeable guys out there. Send them photos, ask the questions. Is this original? Does this look correct? And what's not? Take advices. There are good guys out there with some great advices. Also, try not to buy over-polished cases. Honest history is preferred to a shiny watch. If you want a shiny watch, buy a new one. And also, always try to buy a watch that runs, because if you don't have a good and reliable watchmaker, the service costs will often exceed the value of the watch you paid for it. So also beware of the water stains, water damage. It hurts dial. If you see it on the dial, it means the water came from inside, so most likely you will have a corroded movement as well. So yeah, that's it for me, guys. I'm EDC Gunner. Just a little tips and wanted to show you some of the best value for money watches you can buy under $1,000.